Welcome back to the Bear Down Podcast on NCAA Football 14, guys, a.k.a. College Football Revamped. And we are done with the first 2 weeks of the season, man. And this squad is looking like they have not missed a beat. In today's video, we'll take a look at the season stats so far through 2 games, the rankings, the standings, players of the week. Also, a sneak peek at recruiting. At the end of the week, we will have our big recruiting special. That should be a lot of fun. But let's hop into today's video. Our Bears sitting at 2-0 on the season, coming off of 2 big wins, and last week beating our rival Arkansas. We started off the week taking on SMU, and we blew them out the water, man. This was Gabe Perez's first game as a starting quarterback in college football, and he led our boys to victory, 69-28. As you can see, balanced scoring throughout, 21 in the first quarter, 20 in the second, 13 in the third, and 14 in the fourth. Perez had a great game, man, 17 of 25, 312, 3 touchdowns on the day, completing 68% of his balls. He threw a beautiful deep ball to Tariq Larson to get his first touchdown. I'm impressed with Gabe Perez's arm. I knew it was going to be strong, but, man, this kid has got a very talented arm. The ground game got going. Fagan just fell short of 100 yards, 19 carries, 99 yards, 3 scores. Ira went off, 8 carries for 105 and 2 scores. Perez showed he can get outside the pocket as well, 4 carries for 23 yards. The goal line package just isn't working the way I was hoping it would work for this team. Anthony Bryant, in this game, 3 carries, 3 yards, and 1 touchdown. We're not a big package, like having 3 tight ends, a fullback kind of offense. So it's kind of weird, but we've got to get Bryant some touches. I'm a little nervous that if he doesn't get any touches this year, he might look to transfer. And then we're using Mike Warren, the true freshman, too, as a running back slash slot receiver. Like I said, Tariq Larson had a big game this week. 4 catches for 139 yards and a touchdown. Foreman, 4 catches for 97 yards. Mike Warren, 3 catches for 24 yards. Trey Morgan, 3 for 43 and a score. And then Ashton Ryan, 2 for 38 and a score. DT had 1 for 11. And then Philip Fagan, 1 for 10. I like this group of receivers a lot. I feel like we have a lot more speed with Tariq in the slot. Fred Foreman has great speed as well. And then we know Trey Morgan can go get the rock. He has the best hands on the team by far, best route runner on the team. But Mike Warren, I think he's going to be something special for this A&M team in the future. I like that Coach Thomas has him playing like the 5th wide receiver role. He is a slot guy, but he is a great route runner as well. He's going to be a dynamic player here in the next couple seasons. Defense side of the ball, bend but don't break. We're not going to wow you with a lot of turnovers. We are going to give up a lot of yards through the air, but Casey Buchanan led the way with 6 tackles. Bryant Jones had 5. Dylan Gross has been a great find for us. Moving him to defensive end was probably the smartest move. He had 4 tackles and 2 TFLs against SMU. Nick Ginn had 3 tackles. Brian Charles had 3. He's another defensive end that's getting a lot of playing time this year. And then Matt Scott was probably your player of the game this week. 2 tackles, and he had 2 interceptions as well. Shout out to Nick Ginn. He had a pick. The thing that's concerning about this defense early on, we are getting a lot of pressure on QBs, but not getting any sacks. There's been a couple plays, especially in this SMU game, where I felt like we should have had a couple sacks. The quarterback got rid of the ball fast, or, we just missed the play. Shout out to Tariq as a punt returner, 3 returns for 114 yards. I honestly think that Larson is the most dynamic player in college football right now with his speed and his return ability. Here's a look at the game stats against SMU, 618 yards of total offense. We were 8 of 11 on third down, holding SMU to 4 of 12. Just a great job by the defense on third down, getting off the field. We forced 3 turnovers, almost 800 yards of total offense when you add in the punt return and the kick return. We did have 2 penalties for 12 yards, and we held the ball for almost 20 minutes. And then it was rivalry week, taking on the Hogs. We handled business again, man, 49-16. I don't even know if you could call this a rivalry anymore. We have been blowing these boys out for the past few seasons. We have their number. And, we're doing a great job recruiting at home, taking players away from, U of A and A-State. And they're coming in, staying home, and taking care of business against our rivals. Taking a look at the stats from this game, Perez, again, solid numbers, 23 of 29, 327, 2 touchdowns. He did throw his first interception this season, completed 79% of his balls, and was sacked 1 time. Ground game, got going again, man. Philip Fagan over 100 yards. He had 111 and 2 scores. Ira, 7 for 49 and a touchdown. Perez, on an option keeper, got his first rushing touchdown. And A. Beasley, 3 carries for 5 yards and a touchdown. Again, that big package needs a lot of work. We can only run it really on the goal line when it's at the 1-yard line. But I want to start getting Bryant more involved. Look for him to play a little bit more in maybe the pistol offense. He might be able to sneak in at some of the gun that we use too. But this week was all about the passing game. Trey Morgan, 8 grabs, 103 and 2 scores. These are the type of numbers I want him to have as our number 1 option. But Ashton Ryan, the true freshman at tight end, 8 grabs for 142 yards. The only thing I wish, man, we could have got him into the end zone. But this kid, man, he's a player. He is a player. He gives me a lot of DJ vibes, but is faster and has better escapability. He's more of a wide receiver in a tight end's body. Mike Warren, 3rd on the team with 3 catches for 29 yards. Fred Foreman, 2 for 25. And Tariq, 2 for 28. Defense, again, bend but don't break. Bill Jennings, probably your player of the game this week. 9 tackles. He also had 2 interceptions. It's great to see both of our corners getting some turnovers. Matt Scott had 2 picks last week. Bill Jennings with the 2 picks this week. You had Dustin Carey with 6 tackles. Brian Jones with another 6-tackle game. Casey Buchanan playing a very solid role at nickel corner. I am very happy with his performance here the past 2 weeks. He had 5 tackles and 2 TFLs. Nick Ginn had 5 tackles as well. Dylan Gross, 4 tackles and a TFL. David Sims had 3 tackles. Bo McGee, 3 tackles, 2 TFLs, and he also had a sack. We actually got after the quarterback a lot this week. Caleb Walker had a sack as well. And then Brian Charles had a sack. I know I want our interior line to play a lot better. We are very young at defensive tackle, and it's starting to show with the way that they're playing with Anderson and the other guys. We also got to get Corey Bentley more involved in the defense as well. He's a great pass rusher. It's just tough, man. We have a lot of talent on our defensive line this year, and getting these guys playing time is tough. And here's a look at the stats from the game. 25 first downs, almost 500 yards of total offense, but we almost gave up 400 yards to Arkansas. We held them to 63 yards rushing, which is amazing. They have a very good running back, but we gave up 316 yards through the air. They had a lot better 3rd down conversions than I would like. They were 7 of 15, 1 of 2 on 4th down. We forced 2 turnovers. They forced 1. We finished with 674 yards of total offense, and they had almost 400 yards. And again, time of possession, we held the ball for 17 minutes. So here's a look at your top 25 going into week 3. Bama moves up a spot, and they are now the number 1 team in the nation after beating Arizona 20-3. Notre Dame is 2. We play them next week. They beat UNC 38-18. There we are, sitting at 3, 2-0 on the season. Michigan is 4. Washington, who we play this week, they are 5. Florida State 6, Auburn 7, Michigan State 8. Then you got Texas in at 9. Arizona falls 3 spots to 10 after losing to Bama. Ole Miss in at 11. You've got NC State in at 12. Clemson 13. Oklahoma in at 14. Tulsa is 15. LSU 16. Georgia falls 11 spots to 17 after losing to South Carolina. Then you've got Penn State in at 18. San Diego State is 19. Stanford falls 8 spots to 20. Then you've got BYU in at 21. Tennessee is 22. Northwestern 23. Iowa 24. And then Mississippi State rounds out your top 25. So only 3 teams from the Big 12 in the top 25. You've got us in at 3. Texas is 9. And then Oklahoma in at 14. This conference, man, I need them to get their stuff together. I know we're top heavy, but sheesh, come on, man. So talking about the Big 12, here we go. Looking at the standings, we're sitting at number 1, 2-0 on the season, 1-0 in conference play. Arkansas is 2. They're 1-1 across the board. Texas 3. Baylor is 4. TCU 5. Oklahoma is in at 6. Iowa State is 7. You got A-State, Kansas, Oklahoma State, Kansas State, and Texas rounding out the top 12 in the Big 12. Oklahoma State hasn't played a game yet, which is interesting. They probably play this week. Again, we are very top heavy. You've got A&M, you got Texas, and Oklahoma, the only 3 ranked teams so far. I feel like Baylor could probably, sneak in there. TCU maybe. But we need, if we're going to be a good conference this year, we need these guys to play. We need them to sneak into the top 25 and bring that conference prestige up, because so far it's just been us carrying the conference so far. So taking a look at the players of the week from week 1 in the Big 12, Gabe Perez and Matt Scott are your offense and defensive players of the week. Perez finished with 312 yards, 3 scores against SMU, and Matt Scott had those 2 tackles and 2 interceptions. And then in week 2, congratulations to Bill Jennings. He's named the defensive player of the week. 9 tackles with 2 interceptions. Shout out to Lance Strope, though. Big game against UNLV. 12 of 18 for 220 and 5 passing touchdowns. So let's take a look at the season stats through 2 games. So far, Gabe Perez is 2nd in the country with 639 yards of passing. He's got 5 touchdowns with 1 interception. Like I mentioned, Gabe is just showing out this year. I'm very impressed with his arm and his accuracy. He has great control of his offense, and he has a big quarterback, man. I didn't realize he's 6'5", 230 pounds. Again, I'm concerned. He's a redshirt sophomore. He can declare at the end of the season, but I'm hoping to have him back at least for 1 more year. We're already thinking about that early in this season, but this kid is going to be something special. I think the ground game is off to a solid start so far. Fagan has 210 yards, 5 touchdowns. You've got Ira Harris, 154 yards and 3 scores. These two got to get going, man. We got to have big games. I would love to see them both, Fagan at least 125 yards a game and Harris somewhere like 75 to 80 yards a game. The problem is our offense has so many weapons. Fagan, Harris, Mike Warren, Trey Morgan, Tariq Larson, Fred Foreman, Ashton. It's just so many players to get the ball to and just not enough ball to go around. Perez outside the pocket, 26 yards and a touchdown. And then you got AB down here, 8 yards and 2 scores. Again, we're going to look to get him more involved in the offense other than just on the goal line. Finally got Trey Morgan going against Arkansas, 11 catches, 146 and 3 scores so far on the season. Ashton Ryan, 10 for 180 and a touchdown. Tariq, 6 for 167 and a score. Fred Foreman, 6 for 122. We got to get him into the end zone. Again, Fred is just a great receiver, man. And if you look at his numbers, he's going to shatter what he's been doing for his career here at A&M this year. Great speed, 94 speed, great acceleration, great hands, great route running, great jumping ability. He's just a playmaker, man. We got to get him more involved. Mike Warren, 6 catches for 53 yards. You got DT with 1 for 11, and then Fagan 1 for 10. I think the group that has impressed me the most so far through these 2 games is the offensive line. John Hawkins has the most pancakes, 9 pancakes, followed by Drew White. Again, with Drew White, man, I get so frustrated with him because I feel like he misses some blocks sometimes. But he's actually doing a pretty great job, especially in the passing game. Keith Smith at right guard, he's our senior. He's our leader on that offensive line. McMillan is the backup center. Dodd at right tackle. He's only given up a sack. Then you've got Horn at left tackle doing a great job. And the rest of the guys, I'm just impressed, man. We have a very young offensive line still. 2 upperclassmen getting starts. 3 upperclassmen getting starts. And they're holding it together. They're doing a great job. They're going to get tested these next couple games, though. Defensive side of the ball, Bryant Jones leads the squad with 11 tackles, tied with Casey Buchanan at nickel corner. Bill Jennings has 10. You got Nick Ginn with 8, Dylan Gross with 8 as well. Carey has 7, Scott with 5, Sims, McGee, Charles, and Jolly each with 4. Then you got Walker, Bentley with 3. Sack department, Walker, McGee, and Charles each have 1 sack. I want to get these numbers up, man. I think our defensive line is too good to only have 1 sack or 2 sacks on the defensive line. Again, Corey Bentley, we got to get him more involved. I think I might switch him and Dylan Gross in our rushman package. I might put Gross on the inside and let Bentley play outside. So that should help out a lot. We've got 5 interceptions as a team. Matt Scott with 2, so does Bill Jennings, and then Nick Ginn has 1. Do we force any fumbles? Yeah, we got a couple forced fumbles here. Brian Charles and Bo McGee each have 1. We have not recovered 1 yet, and no defensive touchdowns as of yet. In the kicking game, Keaton Holt doing a great job. He's 2 of 2 so far with a long of 51 and perfect so far on extra points. Punt game, Jacob Williamson only has 1 punt through 2 games, 1 for 48 yards. Kick return game, Marquise Powers. This kid, I think he can get going, man. I think he's a great returner, 7 returns for 196. He's averaging just about 28 yards a return. We're looking for him to break one out. I know he's got it in him, and I feel one coming real soon. And you already know, Tariq Larson in the punt return game, dangerous, man. Couple punts already this season where he set us up like 1st and goal off a punt return. So this kid is going to be – he's something special, man. I like him more involved in the offense than I do on special teams, but I think he's just too good not to have on special teams. So no sitting down with Coach Thomas this week as he prepares for probably 2 of the toughest games of the season, Washington this week and then Notre Dame next week. But he has promised that he will make time for us next week during the bye week. But let's look at this recruiting class that's on our – but let's take a look at these. So let's take a look at the recruiting board. I think this year is going to be an interesting year for A&M. We're losing how many seniors this year? We will be losing, I think it was 16 seniors this year, 17 juniors. Which I think that, out of that 17, we could lose anywhere between 2 and 3. And then a quarterback that's a redshirt sophomore. So we could lose about 20 guys this year. But I think what Coach Thomas and his crew is thinking, we got to find some guys who can come in and play immediately. Definitely need a backup quarterback. We're going to be losing a very talented wide receiver in Trey Morgan. We're losing a couple guys on the defensive side of the ball, including Brian Jones, I think. But we have a plan for middle linebacker moving forward. And as you can see on this board, there's a lot of quarterbacks. There's a couple quarterbacks, a couple defensive guys, a lot of receivers. We're looking at offensive line as well. But we do have a couple commits. You'll meet those guys later this week. And I'm excited about the guys that have already committed. I'm excited about the guys we have on the board. And you already know the board is forever changing. We're adding players. We are dropping players. But I like the guys that are on here so far. I think these guys, a lot of these guys could come in and play if needed. We are looking for, number one, a backup quarterback that can definitely come in and step into play if Gabe Perez decides to come back and gets hurt. And I think we got a couple guys on the board that we've kind of narrowed it down to. We've done our homework. They've come in for early visits. But this is going to be a very important class for this A&M squad for next season. If you guys have any comments or you want to see or if you have any other positions you think we should be recruiting for, go ahead and drop that down in the comments, man. I would love to hear from you guys and see what you think about the recruiting board so far. So it's time to hand out our first set of Bear Paws for the season. If you guys are new around here, we hand out Bear Paw stickers to the players that have shown and played the best on the field and off the field. These are given to players that are impact players that have stand out really in the past 2 games. Starting things off, I think we have to give one to Gabe Perez. 2 starts so far, 639 yards through the air, 5 touchdowns, an interception, and he has a rushing touchdown. Just doing a great job at the quarterback position, stepping in for Craig Washington. I think we got to give one to center John Hawkins, man. This kid is doing a great job in his redshirt junior season. He's got 9 pancakes so far on the season. One that I can remember, it was we were inside the red zone against Arkansas, and he just laid the middle linebacker out. I'm talking about decleated this kid and allowed Fagan to get the first down. He's only a junior. I'm expecting him back for his senior year, and he's going to carry this offensive line. He's one of the captains here on this offensive line. To the defensive side of the ball we go. I got two here, man, and they go both to our starting corners, Matt Scott and Bill Jennings. Both of them have 2 interceptions, and these guys have just been playing at a All-American level, man. Honestly, it's tough to throw against Matt Scott. He does a great job at bumping coverage and then recovering. Both of his picks came on plays like that. And then Bill Jennings, he might be slight, 5'10", 185, but he plays much bigger than that. He's third on our team in tackles with 10 and tied for second with 2 interceptions. So both of these guys get the Bear Paw sticker. So let me know down in the comments what you think. Who else should have got a sticker, or did we get it right this time? Let me know down in the comments, guys. So our Black Bears are in for a rough stretch the next 2 games, both against highly ranked opponents, kicking things off in the Pacific Northwest, taking on the number 5 ranked team in the nation, the Washington Huskies. This is going to be a tough one, man. They have a great running game and a very good quarterback. And then we have our home series with the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, the number 2 team in the nation. I think if we win both of these games, they have to move us up to number 1 in the nation. These are 2 top 5 teams, very respectable, very dominant teams. And if we can come out and handle business, we should be the number 1 team at the end of this. But it's not going to be easy. I'm excited for that Notre Dame game, but we cannot get too far ahead of ourselves. Washington is nothing to sneeze at. We got to come and play our best game of the season. We can expect to see a lot of throwing. We can expect these running backs to get loose. We just got to handle business and play A&M football. And then after the Notre Dame game, we have a bye week. So it gives us time to recover before we get back into Big 12 play. And before we get out of here, man, let's take a look at some of your guys' creative players. A lot of your guys are starting so far this year. Shout out to Johnny McNair, the starting quarterback at Colorado now, 279 yards through the air, 2 touchdowns so far on the season. At Syracuse, we have 2 players here, led by Mikey Benjamin Jr. at running back, 4 carries for 25 yards. And then Jacob Kerr from Conway, man, the speedy back, 5'8", 176, only 3 carries so far in the year with 6 yards. Now, over at UAB, Osiris Richmond IV is off to a great start this year. 33 carries for 190 yards and 4 rushing touchdowns. At LSU, we have 2 wide receivers, Kenyon Kelly, 4 catches, 58 yards and a touchdown. And then Zion Rose, 2 catches, 29 yards and a score. Both of these guys are seniors, and we play these guys later in the season, so it should be interesting. Big offensive lineman at left tackle, Larry Little at Maryland, 6'8", 344, his senior year. But he is down right now, injured. He's got 1 pancake on this season. Shout out to Blaine Atchley. He's a redshirt junior, just transferred to Louisville, getting some playing time. He's got 2 pancakes on the season. At Missouri, you've got Ozzie Zuninga in his senior year. He's got 2 tackles, an assisted tackle, and a pass breakup. I believe he is 3rd on the depth chart right now, playing nickel. He's an 83 overall, 6 foot, 192. Then there's Nick California at Oregon State, junior year, 2 tackles, 2 assisted tackles, no sacks. Does he have an interception this year? No interceptions, and no pass breakups either. Over at UCF, you have Ed Lord at middle linebacker, 5 tackles on the year, 3 solos, 2 assisted tackles, no TFLs, no interceptions, nothing else. He is actually behind a player, I believe. Yeah, there he is right there. Kevin Carter is the senior. But these guys right here, man, are the 1-2 punch at middle linebacker for the UCF team. Smoke Willis is back for his senior campaign at TCU, coming off of 2 great seasons, man. Look at his sophomore and his junior year. Right now, his senior year, off to a slow start. 1 tackle so far, no other stats to write home about. But, Smoke's not forcing any turnovers, really. He only has 1 interception for his career. At tight end, we just took on this kid right here, man, Clayton Morrison at Arkansas, 6'7", 270. So far, 11 catches, 127 yards. Most of that was against us last week. For his career, 21 grabs for 266 yards and 2 touchdowns. Also at UAB, we have Thaddeus Mitchell, the redshirt junior wide receiver. He's only got 1 catch for 10 yards on the season. For his career, though, 26 grabs, 334, and 3 scores. Coming off a solid year last year, 23 catches, 300 yards. Expecting big numbers from him this year. At Southern Miss, we have Nolan Robinson at middle linebacker. So far through his career, 24 tackles, 31 assisted tackles, 2.5 sacks, and he's got 6 pass deflections. I don't think he's playing this year. They might have redshirted him this year. At FAU, you've got quarterback Quentin Morris. So far this year, 8 of 15, 100 yards. He's coming off a couple of seasons where he threw up some big numbers, 2,300 yards his freshman year. His sophomore campaign, 1,800 yards. He's been consistent, 18 touchdowns. Got those interceptions down after his first season. He is their impact player, but I think he's splitting time because Sean Goins is the senior, and he's completed 6 of 15 for 46 yards. Also at FAU is Jack Batter at tight end, 6'5", 258. So far through his junior year, he's got 4 catches for 67 yards, no touchdowns. But look at his numbers from his sophomore year. 47 grabs, 542, and 3 scores. We just took this kid on last week. This is Samuel Brewer, the redshirt junior over at Arkansas. He's been putting up steady numbers through his whole career, man. His freshman year, 2,335 yards. It got better his sophomore year, and this year already 586 yards. He threw 24 touchdowns his freshman year, 24 his sophomore year, 4 this year already. And the interception numbers, I think the interception numbers might go up a little bit this year, but still a solid quarterback, and the kid's only a junior. Out in Cali, we've got Michael Ballestieri. I'm probably butchering their last name, man. But this kid is a solid outside linebacker. 68 tackles so far through his career. 24 TFL, 6.5 sacks. He's got a pick that led to a touchdown. He's got 13 pass deflections and 1 forced fumble so far through his junior year. 3 tackles, 4 assisted, and a sack. Down in Gainesville, we have Shaq Rabb. He's actually a transfer, man, in his redshirt sophomore season. So far, through his sophomore year, only 2 tackles. Now, our rivals down in Austin, the Longhorns, Mark Enzo at running back. 14 carries, 102 yards, and a touchdown so far in his redshirt sophomore season. Last year, over 1,100 yards at running back. He averaged 81 yards per game, had 7 touchdowns. His longest rush was 20 yards. Now he is the starter, man. Let's see what this kid can do. We play them here towards the end of the season. Down in Georgia, you've got Jordan Macklin at wide receiver, 6'1", 191. So far through this year, 3 catches, 48 yards. Taking a look at his career stats, 24 catches last season for 248 and 3 scores. His longest reception is 47 yards. Look at the yards per game gone up, almost doubled. Yards after catch, not really going to wow you there, but, you know, it's still early in the season, so let's see what he can do, man. Also out at Oregon State is Charlie Zeller at left outside linebacker, 6 tackles so far on the season. And here's a look at his career numbers. He put up some big numbers in his freshman campaign. 26 tackles with 59 assisted tackles. He's got 3.5 sacks for his career. He broke up 8 passes last year, 9 for his career, and forced 1 fumble. This might be a player we keep our eye on. The Wolverines have a player in Zach Swartz, 6'1", 227 at strong safety. He's considered a hard hitter. He's got 2 tackles so far on the year. Looking back to last season, probably his breakout year, 21 tackles. He had 2 picks last year, 3 deflections. This kid could be something special, man. It's going to be interesting to see what he could do for this defense. He is more of a hard hitter than he is a coverage safety. They probably play him in the box against the run a lot. At Kansas, Marvin Humps takes over the starting running back position, 6'3", 222. So far through his junior campaign, 18 carries, 97 yards. Still no rushing touchdowns for his career. He's got 172 yards on the ground, and his longest rush has been 16 yards. At BG Bowling Green, Adam Prince is the starting quarterback, 6'4", 212. In his junior campaign, 19 of 33, 234, 3 scores. Coming off a big sophomore year, 1,956 yards, 19 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. I think he's a dual threat, if I'm correct. Yeah, great speed, very strong arm, but not that accurate. So we head back down to Texas at Aggieland, Texas A&M. They got Joshua Cooper at D tackle, 6'3", 290. 3 tackles so far in the season, half a sack. He actually has a pass breakup and a forced fumble. Good to see him get some playing time in his junior year. Also at A&M is Isaiah Washington at quarterback, 6'2", 223. This year, 19 of 33, 238, 3 scores, and an interception. His freshman year, he threw for 882 yards, 6 touchdowns with 5 picks. He's another one of those guys who's a solid dual threat with 86 speed. Great arm talent, though. Great strong arm. He's got a great deep ball, solid accuracy. The elusiveness is there. He's going to be a solid player for A&M for a while. At Toledo, we have T.J. Mercati, 6 foot, 196, a true sophomore. Last season, 19 tackles. He had 4 deflections. This year, only 1 tackle and no other stats. But he is a great man coverage corner, man. Very solid. If he decides to declare early next season, he could be a first-round draft pick. That's what some scouts are saying. At Ohio, we've got Derek Guillen, a redshirt freshman, 6'6", 303. He's got 2 tackles and a half a sack so far on the season. Then at Nebraska, there's Charles Williams at tight end, his junior year, 6'6", 233. 1 catch for 8 yards so far on the season. Last year, 1 catch for 5 yards. Down there in Tar Heel country, there's Marvin Mackey, the true sophomore at free safety, 6 foot, 212. 3 tackles on the season with 2 pass deflections. And the last player we're going to take a look at is Paul Jones out at Ohio, 6'9", 270 pounds at defensive end. He leads Ohio with tackles, 11 tackles, 2 sacks on the year, 5 TFLs. This is his first year really getting some playing time. We might have to keep an eye on him, man. This kid could declare and be a great pass rusher. Look at the speed, the finesse move. He could get off of blocks. 6'9", 270. It's a solid trait for a defensive end in the NFL. All right, guys, so that's going to wrap up this week's podcast. It was filled with a lot of information, man. We got a big couple of weeks coming up here, man. Traveling up to the Pacific Northwest to take on Washington and then returning home for the home and home with Notre Dame. This is going to be a great couple of weeks, man. I hope you guys are excited for it. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, make sure you smash that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're brand new. Don't forget to ring that bell. Join the Noti Squad. And make sure you guys check out those links down in my description. Follow your boy on Facebook, Twitter, and IG. And come through and join the Discord fan for exclusive content. And we'll talk from Washington when we take on the 5th-ranked Huskies, man. This should be a great game. And I hope you guys are excited for it. Have a great day, guys. 2 fingers in the air. Peace. Big thank you to all the members of the channel and the Patreons. If you would like to become a member or a Patreon, hit the links down below in my description.